Woo! What's going on, guys? Jan in the wild, very, very cold as per usual. You can't really see it, but there's a hidden beautiful sunrise. Yesterday we spoke about the Isak story circulating and surfacing on the media again, praising Jackson at the same time. And yeah, pretty interesting video, talking points. Of course, we've got a European game coming up this midweek, huge game against the Villa at the weekend, and things are going well. We need to see out games better, score that extra goal, but slowly, you have to say, things are going in the right direction. And despite it being all bundled up at the top in the Premier League, third and above Arsenal, it's good going, mate. City lose. I know we're worried about Liverpool winning the league, but if they beat City on the weekend and we beat Villa, go above Man City. Jeez. With fun. Anyway, see you in the studio.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, people, what's going on? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. Check out my coffee mug. I'm getting old. Welcome back to, Chelsea news. Today we're discussing a few things, player-related, transfers-related, because that is what makes the headlines, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm going to reference a couple of articles, Chelsea Chronicle and Chelsea.news, which is Cy Phillips' website platform, and also cite this story that's coming out of Portugal, Record, which is the big publication, sports football publication, out in Portugal, about Victor Gyokeres. Of course, we reacted to Isak. The stories are suggesting Chelsea are putting the feelers out there for an elite striker. If you want the details on how I feel about Gyökeres Jackson and why he's excellent, and why him being excellent doesn't necessarily mean we can't buy another elite proper centre forward, go watch my previous upload. But yeah, very interesting to talk about, and I also want to address something that you guys have been speaking to me about in the comments about, why are we constantly buying players and what are we going to do with all these players? And of course, we've got players arriving like Willian and Kendrick Pyers as well. I want to speak about that as well. So there's lots to get into today, gang. As always, I'll thank you for joining me. The true OGs, the GOAT gang. You are my day ones. And to the rest of you, why not jump on board, subscribe, hit the bell, drop a like on the video, and all that sweet, loving, kind support stuff. Yeah. I'm just going to pause the recording and sip my coffee so there's no dead air. Delicious. Now, I want to speak about this, this perhaps hoarding of talent. What we're going to do with 5,000 million players. Well, firstly, people said that about this season, and we seem to have been doing pretty well. But correctly and appropriately and suitably, you guys might be saying, Jan, we should be in the Champions League next season. You can't have a B team in the Champions League. And that's true. You're smart. But we are learning. We are maybe ahead of schedule in terms of performances this season, but we are most certainly behind schedule in terms of squad building. We've had some painful lessons along the way, most notably the first transfer window, where, of course, Todd Boehly was interim sporting director, and we're sort of feeling our way through it, making our way downtown through the transfer window, signed Cole Palmer. Yeah, so we're finding our way, right? I want to react, because you're right. You guys are right. When you say in the comments, Jan, frickin' Willian's arriving. He looks absolute superstar. You said it yourself. I have said it myself on multitude of occasions that this kid could be the superstar with Cole Palmer in the team. Yes, Pyers is going to turn up. I mean, I'm not so 100% convinced this guy's going to just walk into the first team. We're going to reference Nkunku in a moment. I know that story's coming up again. We'll leave Gyökeres for last because it's, with Jackson doing so well, I don't want to harsh his mellow too bad, but it's a big story. It's in the headlines. I want to react to it. The truth is, guys, the sobering truth, which is positive actually, is that the cream will rise to the top, and the other players who we're not utilising, we will sell and make money for. One thing that the ownership have seen before they bought Chelsea, before Blueco, Todd Boehly's consortium bought Chelsea. In fact, he tried to buy Chelsea in 2018. He was looking at Chelsea. What does Chelsea do? Well, Chelsea wins. What else did Chelsea do? Chelsea makes a lot of money through player sales. Granted, the club as a company wasn't doing so well in terms of revenue elsewhere, and probably wasn't optimized and not so strongly data-led. At least that's what was hammered into us early doors. Like, you know, Chelsea's not run well, and it's not going to do well in the age of PSR unless things change. But under Abramovich, and I think more poignantly under the leadership and negotiating powers of Marina Granovskaya, Chelsea made a lot of money in player sales. That is something that is maintained. We saw Amari Hutchison dunking on Ruben Amorim's Manchester United, who, by the way, I might do a video on that on the second channel, Football Yannick. So if you're interested in my non-Chelsea thoughts, go subscribe to Football Yannick. It's like football therapy, but just Yannick. Amari Hutchison dunking on United. That was great fun. A superb goal. We got them from free for Arsenal. Sold them to Ipswich for their record transfer fee. There's a lot of intelligent transfer stuff going on. You know, the latest and most nerdy is Renato Vega for 11 million quid. Like, it seems like some smart stuff. And the players that don't fit, listen to me. The players that didn't work out to be the most high-performing, high-upside players in Maresca's first, let's say, 16 players. Because this is what it's going to be, guys. The B team will have to become less of a thing. It's going to become like 16 super players supplemented by 3 players who you can trust to be rotating in and out, rather than these 2 starting 11s and, you know, 2 starting 11s that don't still include the likes of Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, bro. Do you know what I mean? So there's gonna be like, right, Cole Palmer's friggin' good, he stays. Nico Jackson's friggin' good, he stays. Caicedo, do you know what I mean? Like, bang, 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 bang. This guy, we might need a new right back. We might need a new centre back, you know, and that doesn't mean Wesley Fofana or Levi Colwill isn't amazing and going to be amazing and going to have a long Chelsea career. No, it just doesn't mean they have a guaranteed start all the time at the moment, because we've got someone that can make us better. Hot dog, you know what I feel about goalkeeper, and most of you guys feel the same. So there's a lot of that. Because we have a lot of players doesn't mean we're screwed. It means we've got an incredible... I'm sorry, and I apologise before I say it. I do, and it's not right, but it means Chelsea have got an amazing portfolio of assets that they can sell and make a lot of money, while, more importantly, keeping the best for Chelsea. Keeping the best at the club at Stamford Bridge that can perform and that can do really well. So when we're getting linked to like big strikers, Osimhen, Isak, Gyökeres, don't recoil in sadness and fear, dear friend. So think, oh, what are we doing? We're mental. Yeah, it was a bit mental there, but we've always been mental. You know? Go with it. Let it in. Let it wash over you, the mentalness. So players are fine. New players are fine. You know, as long as we're not breaking any PSR financial rules, provided, you know, if it's just how quickly can we make Chelsea the 100-point team. You just get better and better players, test out more, getting, you know, it's going to be more and more brutal until you have that team. And again, if these are players that are accepting the wage structure, where we don't absolutely hamstring ourselves in financial fair play because we're giving them 150k a week rather than 320k a week, yeah, it could be smart. So let's do a bit of citing articles, gang. I am going... I mean, I can show you the articles, but I haven't set it up. I do it every video. You can trust me. I'm going to cite the Chelsea Chronicle here. Jack Drury, he's writing about Christopher Nkunku and Maresca, etc. We'll learn a little bit, because this is still squad composition stuff, you know? Okay, so, as was expected at the start of the season, the size of Chelsea's squad was always going to make it impossible for every player to get minutes they desired. There will be turnover, guys. Especially for like maybe a couple of high-profile additions, which we'll talk about in a moment. And already players have been reported about being frustrated under Maresca. And of course, Christopher Nkunku is saying here is reportedly unhappy. And this is saying a source close to Chelsea. This is a previously referenced article on the 22nd of November. A source close to Chelsea is suggesting that Nkunku isn't very happy. Not that he's definitely trying to push himself out, but like he's not very happy. I'm just going to try and change this focus. Is that better? That looks better. Yeah, as you wouldn't... Of course he's not happy. It's not wrong of him to be unhappy. He's an elite player. He's not starting. He's going to be unhappy. Those outside the starting 11 have been forced to take their opportunities, of course, elsewhere. And Nkunku will be facing Heidenheim. We're not going to talk more about Nkunku, but that is an example. We've spoken about that at length before. One player who's been forced to wait for his minutes is Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, following Maresca to Stamford Bridge. Now, Dewsbury-Hall is an interesting one, guys, because he is... maybe represents a mistake. Again, some of you in the comments have said, nah, it's all right, like, it's fine, like, I think someone in the comment section, forgive me, I forget which account it was, said we signed Dewsbury-Hall when we thought we were still getting Samu Omorodian for the Gallagher deal, right? But it ended up being Joao Felix for that switch almost. And if it was Samu, he would have been a backup striker. And then Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall could have been like this sort of Joao Felix. He would have been what Joao Felix is, the sort of backup B team number 10. So we ended up getting Joao Felix, which relegated Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall further. He said that in a more concise, quick comment. So shout out, sorry man, I should have looked up, but shout out, that's a really good point made. So in that sense, maybe it wasn't the worst signing at the time, but because we got Joao Felix, like, oh, opportunity, what, Joao Felix for only 40 million quid? This guy cost 120, and, you know, Chelsea actually quite like, yeah, let's get him, defo, you know? And then Dewsbury-Hall was like, oh, we got this guy now, what are we going to do with this guy? And it's frustrating because... Graham Bailey, journalist Graham Bailey here, is predicting that to this website that he could be sold just after one season at the club. Maresca knew about him and he was a quality player. It was a very strange deal. I don't think he's going to be at Chelsea at the start of next season. It is what it is. He's not the only one it will happen to. Chelsea are well set in that department. It could be a lot of players on the way out. Chelsea will always play a trade under the new ownership. They did under Roman. They will do it under the new ownership. They will trade players. And whether that's Nkunku, who should bring money, by the way. He's been starting for France recently. And you start for that team around friggin' like Mbappe or, you know, Ousmane Dembele, whatever, you know, Kolo Muani, Thuram. If you're playing with those, man... and you're 27 years old and, you know, you're scoring loads and you're positionally versatile, we will get a good fee for Nkunku. Should he go? I'm not selling him. I'm not saying he's got to go. I'm saying if he does, we'll get good money from him. Dewsbury-Hall will make a loss. Of course we will. But maybe they'll look at the whole season holistically and look at the other squad development and look at potential sales and be like, a minor loss in a sea of wins, hopefully. Fingers crossed, touch wood. We'll see what happens there. They'll talk about that as well. Now, on Cy Phillips' website, chelsea.news, he references and cites the same journalist, Graham Bailey, and has said he's been talking about Mark Guéhi. It's still very, very high on Chelsea's list. Of course, the ex-Chelsea player, the Chelsea Academy player. He never actually played for the first team, I don't think. You know, unlike the likes of Tomori and Cole, of course, and stuff like that. I think he went on loan to Swansea. He was played in the Championship a little bit, and then Palace bought him, and he's been awesome, and he's looking like the future of the England centre-back partnership. Now, I'd like Guéhi and Colwill to be the two centre-backs there'll be 3 centre-backs under Thomas Tuchel for England, won't there? But Guéhi's sick. Uncle Guéhi, they call him, don't they? He's a bit of a leader. He's young still. He's very, very aggressive and intelligent defender. He says Guéhi is someone still that Chelsea like. He's high up on the list. Palace have got their issues. A January deal is not something he's pushed for. Of course, he nearly went to Newcastle United in the summer. They wanted a lot of money for him. It didn't happen. I wonder if Mark Guéhi sees as an opportunity to return to Chelsea. And because Newcastle aren't absolutely soaring at the moment, and there's some deal of uncertainty around that club as well, I wonder if he gets a whiff of Chelsea, he'll be like, yeah, sell me to Chelsea. And we should remember, guys, Crystal Palace and Chelsea have an excellent relationship. Of course, it's not the best trodden path towards Stamford Bridge, and Parish did get a little bit funny when we tapped up Michael Elise the first time. But in the end, that was a blessing in disguise because we ended up signing Cole Palmer instead. But we've sent them loads of players, you know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher. I think Ruben was good there. Gallagher was excellent there. You know, we've sent Michy Batshuayi and other players there as well. So I feel like there is a relationship there. Look, again, just to reiterate before we speak about strikers, whatever works, right? I've been very, very firm on my position with Colwill and Fofana. I think they're both excellent. I think they're both very different. They're both very young, and they could build and develop a formidable partnership. And of course, we'll see by the end of the season if they get better and better and better with time and time and time. Then they're the ones. Tosin, I think he'll always represent a smart signing on the free transfer. And he's great, you know. Badiashile, maybe the haters are a little bit more happy with that performance we saw on the weekend. Disasi he's got vibes, he's a good guy, but I don't think he's the one, really. Maybe Disasi goes... of course, how did I forget? How many of you were shouting at the screen when I was talking about Palace loanies and before I was talking about centre-backs that I didn't mention friggin' Trevoh Chalobah? And of course, many of you are probably saying, bring Chalobah back. But truth is, for one reason or another, Chelsea sporting directors, they're just not massive on Chalobah. They've just never been. They've looked at some elements of his game and his data and they decided he's not for what they want to build. Rightly or wrongly, he's a great player. He's a bit of a leader. He's certainly a very decent bloke, Trev. But it does seem like that's not going to happen. So, Trev, maybe there's something to be done there as well. Maybe say, right, you can have Trev for 25 million quid if we give you an extra 25 and have Mark Gurhey back to you. So you're getting this replacement and you know, of course they wanted 60 million for Gurhey more or something. Maybe we can do a deal there with Trev, part exchange. Although it's never part exchange, there'll be individual deals for PSR reasons. Yeah, man, look, I am not like a lot of people are looking at Chelsea and everyone's unanimous. We're not going to hate on Rob Sanchez. Let's just support him until the end of the season, right? See what happens. But most people are saying Chelsea need a goalkeeper. Most people are saying that. And then a lot of people are saying Chelsea needs a centre-back. Some people are saying a senior, like obviously not as old as Thiago Silva, but this kind of like Titanic figure to come in like and be like a Rudiger or a Van Dijk or someone next to one of the other centre backs. But Mark Gurhey, how old is Gurhey? Because he's young, but he's not like he's 20, so he's 24. Okay, so he turned 24 in July. He's right in the sweet spot under 25. This new ownership, these sporting directors, they love signing 24-year-olds. Sancho, Felix, Neto, do you know what I mean? So maybe Mark Gurhey's an interesting one. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let's talk Gyökeres. Alright, again, don't shoot the messenger, just reacting to news headlines here. We spoke about Isak yesterday. I'd freaking love Isak personally. But of course there is this guy, Victor Gyökeres. I'm trying to wonder if there's a thumbnail in here. Anyway, God, I'm hot in here. These studio lights are melting me. My poor gonads. Apologies. So, record in Portugal, big publication in Portugal said Chelsea, I'm not saying this, remember, never me, Chelsea are leading the race to sign Victor Gyökeres and are prepared to agree €90 million deal in January and loan him back to Sporting Lisbon for the rest of the season. Now, there was talks that he could go for like £50 million. Excuse me. In the summer. And maybe this 90 million. So how much is euros in real money? That's 75 million quid. That Chelsea will buy Gyökeres in January for 75 million quid, loan him back for 6 months, and be like, thank you very much. Come to us in the summer. Many of you who are Victor Gyökeres believers will be like, thank you very much, especially if you consider the age profile and how much better than Lukaku was, and he's scoring for club and country, and 75 million isn't that much, and yada, 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 you know, do you know what I mean? All this kind of stuff, and the striker's so important, and Mudryk, you know, can cost up to 80, and all this kind of stuff. Fine. Fine, he's a great striker. It would be very exciting, wouldn't it? But if he flops, it would be just. I mean, it's a smart move because Nico seems to be doing great. And you'd say to Nico, you know, yeah, this guy's coming, but show that you're a £100 million striker. which is more than 75 by the end of this season, and you know, you don't lose your space to Victor Gyökeres. Victor comes and competes with you and puts pressure on you. You get the whole season, Jackson. Don't worry about it. No one's coming. We're not bringing in a striker in January to screw up your, you know, it's kind of like, he had a great debut season, but this is looking to be a breakout season for Jackson. Like, we're not going to screw that up, man. Do you know what I mean? Again, same deal. I've got no issue with us signing a striker. No matter how high on Nico I am, I don't look at Nkunku as a striker. He's not, because he's not. I don't look at him. So I look at, and you know, Mark Yu, like I said yesterday, he needs to go on like a Sevilla loan or something. So I look at, we've got one striker. He's a good striker. Let's have two good strikers. Whether that's Osimhen, whether that's Isak, whether that's Gyökeres, if we get Champions League. So if we agree this deal, there's another thing to consider. Like, say, if we agree, obviously, we'd be agreeing with Sporting, but Victor would have to agree as well. And, like, you know, you don't know Chelsea are going to be in the Champions League next season. It does look like we're odds on for two reasons, because we're playing well and we're currently third. But looking at the coefficients in UEFA, it does kind of look like that it's going to be top 5 rather than top 4. Pretty good. Pretty good. Guys, what do you think? Please do leave your thoughts. Let's start the conversation in the comment section below. As always, I'll thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel, Football Therapy. And I hope to see you back tomorrow, because I'm here every ruddy day. Right. See you soon. Peace.